Hey guys, I'm back with a new video. In this video, we'll discuss about variables and constants. So let us start with the video. So the topic for this video is variables and constants. In JavaScript. So variables and constants, they are core features not just of JavaScript but of most of the programming languages. Now what are variables and constant in JavaScript? In JavaScript you define a variable like this. So suppose I have a variable name called channel name. So I will say I will use the let keyword, which I will discuss shortly. Let channel name. This is the camel case notation for naming your variables. And then I will assign it to a string of the nerdy dev. So this is how you create a variable in JavaScript. So when a variable it is a data container, or you can say data storage. So this is your variable, or you can say this as a data container. Or some data storage mechanism. Okay, so in most programs you are going to work with some data, be that a username entered by a user to log a user in. This is some data that the program needs in order to work correctly. A variable is a data container that basically holds some data that is required in our program. Now in JavaScript we declare a variable using the let keyword. So using the let keyword you are able to declare a variable. Then the name of the variable, this channel name is your name of variable, so I should say variable name to be precise. And then then the name of the choice that adheres to the naming convention of JavaScript. Okay, so this variable name does follow a convention of naming of variables. So the name of variables cannot start with a number, though you can start with a letter or an alphabet or an underscore, but you cannot start the variable name with a number. Then an equal sign, as you can see. So this is the equal sign, and then you are assigning a string to the variable name. So what will happen under the hood is that a container will get created. The name of the container, which is a label on this container, will be channel name. This channel name variable will be declared at some memory location, say 0x1010, and here this string will be there. Okay, so I will write here the nerdy dev. So this string text is basically sitting in that variable container that we had declared using the let keyword. Okay, so this is about variable. Now you are storing this value at some memory location and in the container channel name. Okay, so with the variable created you can always reinitialize it. So whenever you declare a variable using the let keyword, you are allowed to reinitialize the variable as and when you want. So you are able to reinitialize it and store a new value in it. Here I am using the existing variable channel name, and then what I can do is, so let me show you reassignment. So we can perform reassignment as well. Reassignment, of course, in case of those variables that are declared using the let keyword. Okay, so I will say channel name equal to, and say xyz. So now what will happen is we'll go to the container where this nerdy dev text is basically sitting, and this will get override with xyz. So now xyz will take the place of the nerdy dev. Okay, so it gets reassigned. Now the channel name is holding xyz at the very same memory location of 0x1010. Okay, so we are using the existing variable channel name and then assigning a new value to it. Now we use the let keyword if we introduce the variable for the very first time in our program, and if you reassign a new value to it, you do not repeat that keyword. Okay, so writing here let will be wrong because we had already declared the variable using the let keyword. Then we can use the created variable and then can reinitialize it with new values. So for reassignment, we do not have to use the let keyword again. So this is about let keyword. So when you're using let keyword, you are introducing the variable for the very first time. So this got introduced for the very first time, say at some line number 1. Okay, and this reassignment took place at line number 2. And if you are reassigning a new value to it on line number 2, you are not supposed to use the let keyword again. You use the let keyword only to let JavaScript know that there is a new variable that we have declared it, and if you use it in subsequent lines of code, you can directly reference the variable by its name and no need to use the let keyword again. So a variable is a data container where the value can change. So you also have a special form of variable, you could say. We have something called as constants. So let me tell you something about constants, and they are also special type of variables, but they are unlike let keyword. You cannot reinitialize them. So for example, you have a total tax which is fixed, or you could say you declare a constant and you say, okay, let me use some other pen for this. Okay, so const, and I will define a new variable called total tax, and initialize it with a fixed value of 4000. Okay, so a new variable will get created in memory with the label of total tax. So you can identify this variable with this label, total tax, and it has a fixed value of 4000 because we are using the const keyword for declaring this variable for the very first time. So it is also a data container, but instead of the let keyword, you created using a const keyword. So here we are using the const keyword. Now, so this is yet another keyword that is built into JavaScript, which JavaScript recognizes and understands. Now the special thing about constants created with the const keyword is that you cannot mutate the value. So changing the value is not allowed. Changing the value is not allowed. Okay, so it is the special thing about constants that you create with the const keyword that you can never mutate the value. If you try to do that, you will get an error. So if you try to make changes, if on subsequent line of code I say total tax and I reinitialize to some value, say 7000, now this will give us an error. Okay, this is not allowed. You cannot reinitialize the variables that you declared using the const keyword. So what you can do is that you can initialize the const variables at a central place, say at the beginning of your file, and then you can use the same constant multiple times at different places wherever it is required. So you always reference that same single constant, and if you then ever change the value of constant, you will change it in one place instead of changing at multiple places because you declared it at a central position, say at the top of your file. And if you change the value at that point, the changes will be reflected at all the points where that variable is getting referenced, and it will get reflected in all the places where that constant is sitting or being used. So this is all about the const keyword. So there are two different ways of creating variables. So we discussed that we can declare a variable using the let keyword, and we can declare a variable using the const keyword. So these are the two different ways of creating the variables, using the let and with const, where the variables declared using let can be changed and with the const they cannot be. A key takeaway is that you use constant as often as possible whenever you actually got data that never mutates and is fixed, to be clear about your intentions in your code. So if you are loving the content, please subscribe to the channel